A mother who kills her child. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 23. Hyunsu seemed like the last person to be hopeful in the world. His situation simply seemed impossible. He was diagnosed as having a third-degree mental disorder. He was like a rugby ball which had no predictable direction. He was obsessed with food and easily angered. He was talkative, mostly saying trivial things. He chain smoked, a habit he had picked up at the mental hospital. While others his age were busy going to high school, he was wasting his time going back and forth to the mental hospital. One day, when he found some peace in his mind after having stayed at Shimto, he told his story about what made him so miserable. His mother intervened and meddled in every single move he made. There was nothing she wouldn't order him around about, from things he ate to things he wore or did. She had been like that ever since he was born. As he grew older, the degree of her meddling and nagging also increased. There was nothing he could think and decide on his own. What she said was the law, and if that law was broken, no one could survive. She demanded complete obedience. Her personality created a serious discord in her family. Her husband also had a hard time tolerating her. He was also sick and tired of having to live like a puppet, controlled by his wife. One day, Hyunsu's earnest wish was mercilessly crushed by the mother's opposition. Feeling extremely frustrated and a sense of despair, he began to want to kill himself. He gave up everything. Soon, he was interested in nothing and found it difficult to concentrate on anything. He couldn't follow along in school and eventually came to think it was meaningless to study when he had already given up everything. So without a second thought, he dropped out of school. People around him said that he must be mentally ill. However, he didn't care about what others thought about him. He would stay wherever his mother placed him, whether it was a mental hospital or at home. He simply let her do whatever she wished to do with him. When he first came to Shimto, he refused to listen to the lectures. Over time, there was something that touched his heart amidst his daydreaming. It was about free will and the power to make a choice. It was about having to live life by making one's own choice of one's own free will, instead of by coercion or pressure. He finally showed interest in the lecture, and he began to realize what was wrong with him. I suggested his mother to come and stay with Hyunsu at Shimto. The mother objected, asking why she should be at Shimto. She insisted that it was her son who had the mental illness. However, I kept trying to persuade her to stay with him, for only then would she be able to see the answer. She reluctantly agreed. No matter who she met, Hyunsu's mother would talk on and on with them. She repeatedly told the exact same story about her unfortunate and miserable past. It was almost like a cassette tape being played over and over. And she had no idea, in her wildest dreams, how negatively this had influenced her son. She was not aware of the fact that meddling and nagging was another way of killing her own child. Human beings do not listen to other human beings. No man on earth could teach her the truth. As she kept listening to the lectures and reading the Bible, her eyes were finally opened to see what kind of person she really was. The Holy Spirit had come into her mind. Hyunsu's mother cried a lot when the Holy Spirit revealed to her her true self. She accurately learned that the cause of her son's misfortune was nothing other than herself. She also learned that a child's mental state and mind can either grow good or bad depending on the nurturer. She struggled, confessing that it was difficult to fix her mindset and lifestyle as much as she wished. Now, having realized her situation, she desperately felt the need of Jesus. She admitted her wrong for advising and nagging her son to live right, while she herself wasn't able to control her feelings. True education is to demonstrate by example. Hyunsu's mother had not known this fact before, but finally, she learned the principle of education, to train a child to choose between the two thoughts that come into their mind. Because she wasn't aware of this principle, she had been continuously destroying her son's wishes and ideas in order to make him obey her. She didn't know that a child is also born with a free will to choose between good and evil. All this time, the will of the parents became the law and was applied to their son. She looked at the result of her education, which she had believed was the right way from an objective point of view. It was a complete failure. She felt as though nothing could be worse than this. Hyunsu's mother made a resolute determination to educate her son in how one can win the victory over self. In tears, she apologized to her son and asked for forgiveness. Watching the mother and the son living Shinto, I was a bit worried whether they would really succeed. A few months passed by. Then one day, Hyunsu's mother called me and told me that Hyunsu was now back to a normal mental state. She said that they both call on Jesus together every single moment. She said that they never want to go back to the past. When I think about Jesus and call upon him, my mind is truly filled with peace. He helps me wherever I am and whenever I need him without fail. Hyunsu and his mother became a good example of a case how one can be healed after meeting God.